Hello, welcome back to another Cookiecutter Django series tutorial. This is number 9. I am going to walk through the basic tutorial on the channels documentation, plug it into my Cookiecutter app that I've been working on for the past 3 videos now. I initialized this on the WebSockets tutorial. Feel free to jump back and watch that one. I'm trying to keep these a little shorter here. With the more complicated stuff, keeping it more compartmentalized. So the first thing that I want to do, following along with ducks, here, is we want to create a chat app. So call this chat. Alright, so we're going to drag it into our projects folder, which there we go. Alright, we'll call this WS test, go into config, base.py, all the way right here. Chat, and we have our chat added. For the purpose of this tutorial, we will only be working with chat views and chat init, so remove all other files from the chat directory. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave them, but that's okay. We should have all these in installed apps. Add the index view. Alright, so we're working in the views file now. Put the following code. Oh. Index.html. Sure, we'll copy and paste that code over. It's not a big deal. Create the view function for the room. Which we're going to have to alter a little bit. We'll get rid of this. No, actually we don't. It's good. To call the view, we need to map it. We need to map it in the URL. So we need a URL file. urls.py. Copy paste cowboy. Let's see. WS test chat. We need an app name. Call it chat. And then we need to go into config URL patterns. WS test chat.urls. The next step is to point the URL conf at the chat URLs module. no, we did that. So if we go to /chat now, what do we see? Ah, what room would you like to enter? Go there in your browser and you should see the text, what room would you like to enter, along with the text input to provide a room name. Type in lobby as the room name and press enter. You should be redirected to the room view, chat lobby. Okay, let's see how that works. Go to the terminal where you run server. Yeah, okay. Integrate the channels library. We've already got this set up here. Now add the Daphne library. We don't need to do that. Don't need to do this. Alright, implement a chat server. This tutorial begins where tutorial 1 left off. Add the room view. Create the room. Okay, so we're going to room.html. Find the templates folder here. Paste that. And it looks like we need this new view for room, which takes context of room name. Room name comes through the URL. And then in URLs we're going to need this path. The room name is a string. Start the channel development server. We're already started up. In your browser, see the index page. Try type in lobby as the room name. You have 404. So what we get for copying and pasting. Using the URL conf define, Django tried the URL pattern in this order. Which is right there. Let's go look at index.html. See that it's sending us there with the room name. Sounds good. Maybe we just need to restart for some reason. Maybe it got hung up. We don't need to worry about the routing right now. ASGI file. Don't need this file. This is doing its job. For some reason, it's not being hit. Sorry. Shoot. Hold on, let me just... Alright, sorry about that. I didn't have a backslash on this path right here. Pretty sure that's what it is. There we go. It's not much to look at, but it's a chat box here with an input. Okay. Type the message hello, press enter, nothing happens. In particular, the message does not appear in the chat log. Why? The room view is trying to open a WebSocket to the URL WS chat lobby, but we haven't created a consumer that accepts WebSocket connections yet. If you open your browser's console or your JavaScript console, you should see an error that looks like this, which is what we see down here. When Django accepts an HTTP request, it consults the root URL conf to look up a view function and then calls the view function to handle the request. Similarly, when Channels accepts a WebSocket connection, it consults the root routing configuration to look up at a consumer and then calls various functions on the consumer to handle events from the connection. We will write a basic consumer that accepts WebSocket connections on the path WS chat room name that takes any message it receives on the WebSocket and echoes it back to the same socket. Create a new file called consumers.py. I'm going to use the WebSockets.py file. It's totally fine. We're going to make this WebSocket. I'm just going to copy and paste this, but we're going to use this WebSocket consumer from Channels generic WebSocket, which is like Django generic views. It's set up quite like the same way as doing like WSGI stuff. We're going to need JSON, I guess. But this is the consumer. That's all there is to it. So we'll go ahead and grab this. Paste it right there. I like to graceful. All right, so what we have is a chat consumer with a connect, self-accept, disconnect, pass, receive. It's going to get the message, or get the data that's passed to the receive function. It's going to find the message variable, which we're going to send it. So let's go. This is a synchronous WebSocket consumer that accepts all connections, receives messages from its client, and echoes those messages back to the same client. For now, it does not broadcast messages to other clients in the same room. By the way, Channels also supports writing asynchronous consumers for great performance. However, any asynchronous consumer must be careful to avoid directly performing blocking operations, such as accessing a Django model. See the consumer's reference for more information about writing asynchronous consumers. We need to create routing configuration for the chat about the chat app that has a route to the consumer. So we have this chat consumer now, which is essentially the echo consumer, but whatever. We bring that over here. Where's my routing folder? File. Say path. Here's chat. See what it says. I think it says string, right? Oh, gonna use a little regex, I guess. I don't think we need to. Okay. We call the ASGI, the as ASGI class method in order to get an ASGI application that will instantiate an instance of our consumer for each user connection. This is similar to Django's as view, which plays the same role for per request Django view instances. Note we use repath due to limitations in URL router, which I've not yet run into myself personally, and I've been using path, so just to note. Something to keep in mind. The next step is to point the main ASGI configuration at the chat routing module in my site ASGI. Important. Yeah, we've already done all of this. Always got to put that trailing. So now that I'm here in this lobby room, it says go there, which is now displays in the chat log. Type the message hello and press enter. You should now see hello echo back in the chat log. I'll be the judge of that. Ah, it does work. Cool. That's not it. However, you open a second browser tab to the same room page. Where did that go? The message will not appear in the first tab. For that to work, we need to have multiple instances of the same chat consumer be able to talk to each other. Channels provides a channel layer abstraction that enables this kind of communication between consumers. Go to the terminal where you ran the run server command and press Control-C to stop. Yeah, it's not for us. Basically, though, at the moment, yeah, nothing. They both work independently. Great for note-taking. Not good for communication. Enable a channel layer. A channel layer is a kind of communication system that allows multiple consumers and instances to talk with each other and with other parts of Django. A channel layer provides the following abstractions. A channel is a mailbox where messages can be sent to. Each channel has a name. Anyone who has the name of a channel can send a message to the channel. A group is a group of related channels. A group has a name. Anyone who has the name of a group can add or remove a channel to the group by name and send a message to all channels in the group. It is not possible to enumerate what channels are in a particular group. So a channel is essentially the connection. So if you have 3 DMs open, you have 3 connections open. You have 3 channels open. The group is the mechanism that makes like a conversation. It makes a group that you have to have that for the everybody has to have a group ID to be able to send messages to and receive messages from. Every consumer instance has an automatically generated unique channel name and so can be communicated with via a channel layer. In our chat application, we want to have multiple instances of chat consumer in the same room communicate with each other. To do that, we will have each chat consumer add its channel to a group whose name is based on the room name. That will allow chat consumers to transmit messages to all other chat consumers in the room. We already have this. If you've been following along, this should already be in your settings. But this is actually going to reference your Redis container, so you just put Redis there instead of the IP address. But the port's the same. And these are 2 separate things. It's application, the ASGI application. This is channel layers. So make sure you have both of these in your application. Make sure you change this to your project name, and put Redis there for your container if you're using Cookiecutter Django with Docker. So make sure that the channel layer can communicate with Redis. Open a Django shell and run the following command. We can do this. This is essentially the function for sending messages across the groups. It's this easy once you get the hang of it. So we're going to import channels layers, channel layer is going to equal channels layers get channel layer, and from *sync import async to sync, and then we're going to say async to sync channel layer .send test channel hello. And then we will delete that part and change this to receive. And we got hello back. So we are up and running there. Put the following code in chat consumer. So the difference here is in the connect function, we have this room name, which gets the room name out of the keyword arguments on the URL. Like I said, scope is request. You access it a little differently, but it's essentially the same thing. So we're going to grab the room name, and then we're going to set it to the room group name, self.room group name here. And then whenever we join the room, join room group, channel layer, we're adding the channel layer, which is your connection, the user's connection to the group. What group? Self group name. self channel name, which is a system defined like behind the scenes thing, right? But that's the channel. That's the user, the channel layer. Sorry, whatever. This is how it works. All right. So I suck at this. We're gonna copy all this. We're gonna put it in to the WebSocket here. And hit save. Oh, and then we also need this sync to async. Or async to sync. I thought I already had that. Those are all happy now. When a user posts a message, a JavaScript function will transmit the message over WebSocket to a chat consumer. The chat consumer will receive that message and forward it to the group corresponding to the room name. Every chat consumer in the same group and thus in the same room will then receive the message from the group and forward it over the WebSocket back to JavaScript, where it will be appended to the chat logs. Several parts of this new chat consumer code deserve further explanation. You have the room name obtained from the keyword args. Constructs a channel. This is self room group name. Constructs a channel group from name directly from the user specified room name without any quoting or escaping. The async to sync, self accept. It's verified that the new consumer works. Let's go. So we'll refresh there. We'll refresh here. We'll say hello, and it appears in both chats. So that was that easy. I think tutorial 3 is rewrite chat server as asynchronous. I mean, honestly, it just wants us to copy over. It wants us to use an async, which I think we already have an async. We already have that. It just makes it slightly faster, I guess. With how small this is, it's not even... It's nominal. Oh, async. Doesn't look like we're using that one anymore. So we go async. WebSocket consumer. Again, from channels generic WebSocket. This new code is for chat consumers, very similar to the original code with the following differences. Chat consumer now inherits from async WebSocket consumer rather than WebSocket consumer. All methods are async defined rather than just defined. Await is used to call asynchronous functions that perform input-output. Async to sync is no longer needed when calling methods on the channel layer. Let's verify that the consumer for the WebSocket path is still working to start the channel. Okay, so in our case, we just have to hit save and we can just go back to it. And probably refresh to reset the connection. I don't even know if that's necessary. Still works. Automated testing. Okay, so that's tutorial 4. And that's pretty much Django. I mean, that's channels in a nutshell. That tutorial is very easy to use. Even if you go do it in a, just like spin up your own little Django project instead of working in Cookiecutter Django to get started. Maybe learn a little bit more that way. That's what I did the first couple of times I've gotten into this, but it's actually super easy. I will say that down here, the part that kind of threw me off at first was a regular sent, so sent from JavaScript, is going to end up in received, and receives going to have to process that. What you could do is put whatever logic that you want to send out to the group in received, and run group send on chat message, or no, run group send on well, WebSocket can receive, basically on the receive. But what's happening in this case is that whenever this receives a message, it does a self send, or it does a group send down here, and then it does it to chat message, which is this. Anytime you see this this dot notation in this inside of this group send function or group receive or whatever, it's in reference to a method that is somewhere on the WebSocket that is not dot notated. It's underscore notated. So I don't know why it's like that. So I've seen that in a couple different places in my programming journey. But that's just the way it is. But what happens here is that whenever we receive a message on this chat consumer, it does a group send using this method, passing this data. So over here in that method, you have the event. We get the message from the event, and then you do send. So for every entity or every channel in the group, it's going to perform this method on it, and it's going to send the message to each one. So this method is reliant on this method, or yeah, this part of this method up here. This method will not send out to the whole group, but it does fire off the method that does. This goes out to the whole group. For each in the group. This method fires. The group being connected WebSockets, but that is about it. I think I might not do it today, but here next is gonna be celery. And then once I cover celery, then I might build an actual thing. Maybe we'll build a notification system or a social media app. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you have any questions about, obviously I know what I'm talking about. I know I stumble over a lot of this, but it's a lot that's complicated, and you have to know what to look for. So my goal is not to pretend like I know all of it. It's to share what I've learned, and hopefully get somebody else to do that as well, so that we can start having a conversation, because I'm always down to learn more. I want to know the insides and the outs of this package. So that is my quest. Join me on the next one. Join me on the last 8. This is number 9, I believe. And I'll see you then.